Direct from Liverpool, the home of the 2023 Eurovision Song Contest, this is Pete from Euroverse. I'm going to steal what Kirsty Walk used to do on Newsnight and open with some lyrics that I've changed for this video. Step 1, believe in it and sing it all day long. Step 2, get 9 of your friends to help you. That's how you write a song. Wanted to trash your Benz, tell all your friends how cruel you were to me. Instead, I and 12 other people wrote a song. Okay, we're going to stop there. But today, in this video, we're not going to be reviewing a song because the national final season has ended. We're going to look at something completely different. We're going to look at how songwriting has changed over the course of the Eurovision Song Contest. Now, it's readily accepted that more writers than ever take part in the Eurovision Song Contest, and there's a variety of reasons why that may happen, and we're going to look at some of those today. Yeah, we've had an edit and the microphone has moved. This is not professional in any way. 97 subscribers, that's why I have so few. So what did I do for this little investigation? Well, I went to my new favorite website, sixonstage.com, which lists every singer, every dancer, every writer, every conductor, even the jury spokespeople. And what we did was, starting at 2022, we counted up how many composers and lyricists wrote each song, and we got the total number of songwriters, and we divided that by the number of entries, and that gives us the average number of writers per song for that year. And we did that for 2022 because that's the most complete set of up-to-date data. And then we went back every 10 years. So we did 92, 82, 72, 62, and 56 because that's just the start. And here's what we found. Well, you can see that between 1956 and 2002, the average number of composers and lyricists per song is reasonably constant, from 1.71 composers in 1956 up to a maximum of 2.1 in 1972, and sort of leveling out at around about 1.95 in 2002. So around about 2 songwriters per song up until about 2002. It's only in 2012 that it increases to 2.45, and by the most recent song contest in 2022, it's gone up to nearly 3.5 composers per song. So you can see that since around 2012, there's been an increase in the number of songwriters and composers taking part in the Eurovision Song Contest. But is this matched by what happens in the mainstream music scene? To test this, we worked out how many songwriters and composers it took for each song in the UK top 20 on the same day as each Eurovision Song Contest that took place. So, for example, we worked out how many songwriters took part in the top 20 of the May of 2022, 2012, 2002, and so on and so on. And what you see here is that in 1982, the number of songwriters appearing in the UK top 20 was very similar to how many were taking part in the Eurovision Song Contest. But you begin to get separation in 1992, and by 2002, there are many more songwriters taking part in the UK top 20 than are taking part in the Eurovision Song Contest. And by 2012, these lines are running almost parallel to each other. And by 2022, there was an average of 5 songwriters taking part in each song for the UK top 20, compared to that 3.48 taking part in the Eurovision Song Contest. Now, the problem with this data, and I don't want to get into too much of a statistical discussion, is that the mean is always going to be affected by extreme values. So there are a very small number of songs that have a very large number of songwriters, and they will distort the result. So take a look at this graph. This shows you some of the more extreme values that took part in each of the song contests from 1992 onwards. And you can see that in 2002, the most that you ever got was 4 songwriters taking part, and it's gradually increased to the point that in 2022, it took 11 people to write the San Marino entry and 9 people to write the Cypriot entry. And the problem is exactly the same in the UK top 20. In 2022, Jack Harlow had 2 songs in the UK top 20 in May. One song needed 13 writers and another needed 10. And in 2012, 9 songwriters were needed for a Rita Ora song, and there were 13 songwriters in another song. I mean, according to Wikipedia, it took between 7 and 8 people to write Galway Girl. I wouldn't even admit to that. So to account for these extreme values, rather than work out the mean average, we've worked out the median average instead. And that will hopefully drag things down and mean that those extreme values don't wreck the results all that much. And you can see that in 1982 and 1992, both the UK Top 20 and the Eurovision Song Contest had a median number of songwriters per song of 2. And the Eurovision carried on with that trend of needing 2 songwriters per song well into the 21st century, with 2002 and 2012 both having a median of 2 songwriters per song. With the charts, there's a separation by 2002 with a median of 3 songwriters per song, and that steadily increases all the way up to 4 songwriters per song by 2022. And it's only by 2022 that the Eurovision begins to catch up. So the increase in songwriters all happened last year, or did it? To test that, we looked midway between 2012 and 2022 to 2017 to see what their results were. And actually, at 2017, you can see that the Eurovision has actually increased to a median of 3 songwriters per song. Interestingly, the UK Top 20 had a median of 5 before dropping back down to 4 for 2022. So there's a couple of things going on here. In at least the last 5 years, there's been an increase in the number of songwriters taking part in the Eurovision Song Contest, and that's beginning to match what's going on in the UK Top 20. But the UK Top 20 has many more songwriters writing songs than what's going on in Eurovision. In both cases, there are increasing numbers of songs that have extreme numbers of songwriters in the regions of between 9 to 13 songwriters per song. I next looked at what was going on in just one country over a period of time. So this data is from Sweden, and the blue bars represent how many songs had 1, 2, or 3 songwriters in the period from 1983 to 1992. And you can see that 5 of those songs in that period were written by just one songwriter. 4 of those songs were written by 2 songwriters, and 1 of those songs had a team of 3 songwriters. This has drastically changed by the time you get to 2014 to 2023. 6 of those songs needed 3 songwriters. 3 of those songs needed 4 songwriters, and 1 of those songs needed 6 songwriters. And that's actually the most recent song, the 2023 entry. Now, what I didn't do was work out how many of those songs were written by Lasse Holm or Thomas Gieson, because it's probably nearly all of them. So why is there an increase in the number of songwriters taking part in both the Eurovision Song Contest and the UK Top 20? Now, I'm not an expert in songwriting or composing, and I don't know why there's been an increase in the number of songs. We may be getting our very own expert to come and tell us all about it in the next video. There's an interesting story from Simon Cowell that said that he used to play the triangle in the background of Westlife songs so that he could get an additional credit as a performer on the song and make a little bit more money. Is that the case, that more people are adding little bits to songs so that they can get credits? Again, I don't know, but maybe our expert in another video might be able to tell us. Is it actually that people were really bad at songwriting with 1 or 2 people, and that the increase in songwriters has actually improved the quality of song? Well, San Marino had 11 songwriters on their song last year, and they didn't qualify, but also Bulgaria only had 1 songwriter last year, and they didn't qualify either. The main thing is, does it matter? Has it improved the quality of song? Has it worsened the quality of song? Is there production shenanigans going on in the background? Is a person who just happens to be in the room claiming a credit? Paul Curtis, who took part in the Song for Europe competition many, many times, often said that Graham Sacher, who was credited as his co-writer, would get a credit only because he happened to be in the room at the time that Paul Curtis was writing the song, and therefore he'd get a writer's credit. He said this in the Eurovision's Legend podcast, and I recommend that everyone listens to it because Paul Curtis gives a really detailed account of many, many of his Song for Europe entries, including the ones that didn't qualify. But anyway, what do you think? Has more songwriters made it better or worse? Is it the fault of the songwriting camps putting lots of songwriters in one room? Or does it matter? Can you win the song contest with just one writer, or do you need a massive team to do it? What do you think? Comment in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe to Euroversy, and there may well be another video where we get an expert to come and tell us more about it. But in the meantime, I've been Pete from Euroversy, direct from Liverpool, the home of the 2023 Eurovision Song Contest, saying I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.